Joining me now, Kentucky Senator and Senate Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs Committee ranking member, Rand Paul. Senator Paul, good morning to you. Thank you so much for being here. I want to quickly get your reaction to this and also ask you if there's anything you can tell us about the ongoing negotiations that the Senate is having regarding the border. This is an issue that is top of mind for voters who've been going to the polls. They want to see change, and they want to see a stop put to the illegal immigration in this country.
You know, I think Biden's actions speak louder than words. The Biden administration, as we speak, are down there cutting the barriers. They're cutting the barbed wire, the razor wire. They're removing the cargo containers that are blocking the border. So all of the things that are trying to stop people from coming in, the Biden administration is removing. So I think that sort of gives the lie to the negotiations that somehow legislation will allow them to do something about the border. The current immigration law says that the president may allow migrant immigration, doesn't say he shall. The president has the power under current law to stop this if he wants, but the president would have to have the willpower, and this president doesn't have the willpower. In fact, this president is doing the opposite, trying to make it easier for people to come across. So I don't suspect it's going to get better, and people are going to sell immigration reform, but what's going to happen is when it passes, we're still going to have the immigration problem because the Biden administration doesn't have any will, and we'll be $100 billion less rich because we're going to print that money up and send it overseas.
Well, that's the thing. So he wants to send money overseas. He also wants more money so that he can work on the border, and his notion of working on it is really just to spend more money on processing people coming in, Senator.
Yeah, and realize the bill is going to have more money for sanctuary cities. So the cities that don't turn anybody in, you can rape, murder, pillage in some of these sanctuary cities, and if you're illegally here, they don't do anything about you. You just fade back into the woodwork. The other thing that's going to happen in this Ukraine bill is there's going to be $11 billion worth of humanitarian assistance. Some of that goes to Ukraine, but some of that's going to Gaza. And it's not clear exactly how much is going to go to the Palestinians, but it's sort of bizarre that we fund both sides of every war. You know, they're going to expect us to clean up and repair Ukraine when it's done being destroyed. The same with Gaza. Gaza's being destroyed, but who's going to have to pay for it? They expect us to pay for it, and I don't want a penny going to Hamas or to any of these people. Look, I have great sympathy for those who live in Gaza and the mess that they're in, and I wish it would stop, but I don't think we should always have to pay for everything. When do we become the sugar daddy of the world? We got to pay for everything.
Yeah, you bring up a great point because the administration just added the Houthis back to the terror watch list. They were taken off when President Biden came into office. And so you have to ask yourself, how much money have we been funneling overseas to terror organizations like this?
Yeah, it's a history of both parties, really, frankly, over decades of funding both sides to every war. Once the war's over, then we say we'll pay to clean it up. So, no, it's a problem. That's sort of the opposite of the philosophy of some of us from the liberty wing of the party, is that we think less intervention. We should have a strong national defense to respond when attacked. And so the Houthis, I would respond with strength because we've been attacked by them. We can't allow international shipping or our ships to be attacked. We should respond with strength.
Yeah.
But the thing is we don't need to have 1,500 troops in Niger, Africa. We don't need troops in Somalia. We frankly don't need like 800 troops spread out throughout Syria that are just targets for, different terrorists. So these are the discussions we should have. But still the majority up here, Republican and Democrat, want troops everywhere, and they want our hands in everything. But it extends us so much. And we also don't have the money for it anymore because we're running $1.5 trillion deficit every year. We borrowed $1 trillion just in the last 3 months. It's out of control, and some of it has to do with our foreign expenditures. We have to think about what's going on at home.
Well, that's the issue right there, is that the president feels like he's got a blank checkbook where he can just make allocations, essentially to anybody abroad that's having a problem. You've also got this Taiwan issue on the horizon as well. But while I have you, Senator, former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley vowing to stay in the presidential race even after losing to former President Donald Trump in the New Hampshire primary on Tuesday. Her campaign now focusing on her home state of South Carolina, and she's holding an event in Charleston, or she held one last night. But after Tuesday's primary, she warned Donald Trump might have a harder time than she would in the Palmetto State. Watch this.
Most Americans do not want a rematch between Biden and Trump. The first party to retire its 80-year-old candidate is going to be the party that wins this election. When we get to South Carolina, Donald Trump's going to have a harder time falsely attacking me. Every time I've run for office in South Carolina, I've beaten the political establishment. They're lined up against me again. That's no surprise. But South Carolina voters don't want a coronation. They want an election.
Senator Paul, you've launched a website and a movement called Never Nikki. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Well, we launched nevernikki.net about a week or so ago, and we got 10 million people on social media to view it and to show some interest in it. So we think we had some impact in the race, but I think it's not getting through to the former ambassador. So I'm considering today changing it from Never Nikki to Never Ever Nikki, because I think it needs to be a little more explicit. Never Nikki's not getting through, so maybe Never Ever Ever Nikki will get through. But my reason is this. It's not because I dislike her personally. I have nothing against her personally, but she's with the McConnell, Dick Cheney crowd that wants to send all of our money overseas. They're for unlimited money in Ukraine, but she's also really a big fan of foreign aid everywhere, and we don't have the money to send. We basically have to borrow the money from China to send it to Ukraine and to all these places, and really there is a link to the common consumer in our country. Inflation comes from debt. Part of that debt is our foreign aid that we send. Part of it's things we spend too much here. But you have to start cutting spending. You can't be extravagant and say we're going to be everything to everyone around the world and be the world's policeman. And I fear that that's what her foreign policy represents.
I think a lot of people would agree with you that we're taking on way too much. You know, you look at the Russia-Ukraine issue and now having to try to see this through. It's taken longer than anybody has expected. And still there's no clear winner, no clear outcome at this time as we're trying to debate whether we send more money over. And so you sit back and you ask yourself, are there things that we could be doing here with that money here at home? And there is so much that we could be doing, even as we are stretched with the migrant crisis that we're trying to deal with and the inflation and the other financial problems that Biden has caused.
To see how big the problem is, realize that the tax revenue that comes into the federal government is spent on entitlements. Everything else is borrowed. So entitlements are Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, food stamps, and a few other items that go on and on and on. That's 2/3 of our spending. That's how much comes in taxes, just enough for that. Everything else, all of the military, 860, 70 billion, 700 billion in Democrat welfare programs, that's about 1.5 trillion. That's the budget we vote on. That's all borrowed. So you could eliminate, which we're not going to do, but let's say we had no budget. We said we're going to zero out the budget, no money for military and no money for all the discretionary programs. That's what it would take to actually balance the budget now. So we have to do something with entitlements. And this is my gripe with some Republicans as well. The people say, oh, we're going to take entitlements off the table, and some Republicans have been snipping back at it for each other in the presidential campaign. Without question, you have to look at entitlements. If you don't, you're not a serious person. And before you know it, we're going to be so far behind the 8 ball that we will not be able to escape this without a calamity. The sooner we act on entitlements, the easier the glide path to fixing them.
And that's the big fear. As you said, you can't be everything to everyone. Senator Rand Paul, we so appreciate your time this morning. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.